Welcome to Your Career Cure podcast, where amazing professionals and entrepreneurs share their inspirational stories so you can get a dose of a happy career, happy life. And now, your host, Gail Tolstoi-Miller.
Welcome to another episode of Your Career Cure. I'm so excited to have another episode, and it is my first solo episode. And I really want to share a LinkedIn message that I actually received 2 years ago, and I still remember it to this day, and that's why I want to share it with you. You know, as a recruiter, we're bombarded with so many resumes and messages, and it takes us 6 seconds to review a resume, and it's hard for us to sometimes differentiate candidates because just everything after a while looks the same. So when you receive something that's so different, that kind of shouts out at you, you don't forget. And I'm going to share this LinkedIn message with you, and you'll understand why. And before I share it with you, it's not necessarily the most positive message, but this message made me call this candidate. I took action, and I'll be honest, I don't know if I would have picked up the phone if it was your typical boring message that I get every single day from tons and tons of candidates. So this is what the message said, and I will tell you that it was a mass message. He sent it out to all of his LinkedIn contacts. So here we go. We're going to start. Dear LinkedIn.com contacts. Hello, you are in my LinkedIn.com contacts file. I tried sending out 650 emails. I received only 6 responses at that time. 3 said they did not know anyone. ? 1 wished me good luck, and 2 sent my resume to a recruiter. This is very sad that no one is willing to help another professional find a job. If this is true, why have LinkedIn.com? Why waste my time? I have helped so many people in my lifetime. Strangers needing help writing a business plan or advice on starting a new business. Writing resumes, giving them recruiters' contact info. Why not help another person in need? I guess I'm not the rule, but I must be the exception. Does anyone understand what it is today not to have a job? No income? Do you really? I doubt it. I've been on a few interviews, and the company says to me, "You are overqualified for this job." What is that supposed to mean? Am I overqualified for welfare? Yes, I am over 50. Get over it. I'm highly educated and worked hard to achieve that. Don't hold it against me. I may be more qualified than 90% of the people you have. Don't you want the best? I am aggressive and entrepreneurial. Do you want a yes man or a leader? So I am asking again, please send my bio to as many people, recruiters, HR people, presidents, CFOs, neighbors, whomever you know in business. You never know who they know that may be looking for an excellent candidate. Thank you again for your assistance. I hope you never have to worry about finding a job. Regards. And I'm going to say John Doe because I'm not going to give his name. Whew. That was a mouthful. I didn't make this up. This is true. Like, I really received this. And when I did receive it, I actually was taken aback. It kind of broke up my day a little bit. It was kind of like a shockwave through my system. It was very visceral. And I actually shared this with my staff. And we actually discussed it. And On the one hand, again, there's this duality going on here. On one hand, this message, very risky, can come across as very condescending and obnoxious. But on the other hand, it gets your attention. And he actually got my attention and I picked up the phone. So maybe who cares if it was obnoxious? Maybe it's just about the end result. And obviously this man is frustrated. He's desperate and he so needs a job. So what I want to do is kind of dissect some of the things that he said in this paragraph by paragraph and give you a commentary on it and tell you some of the things that he did right and some of the things he did wrong, and then maybe provide some suggestions on what he could have done differently. So let's start with the header, Dear LinkedIn.com contacts. Well, I know this whole message is under the context that he's sending it out to everyone, but it's not personal. It's always good to have a first name. People react to that. But then again, maybe the fact that he's making it very clear he's sending it to everyone and that he's trying to get help from everyone. I kind of get it. But again, I always think more personal is better. But then again, who am I to say? Because he got my attention and even that header got my attention. All right. Hello, you were in my LinkedIn.com contacts file. Tried sending out 650 emails. I received only 6 responses at that time. 3 said they did not know anyone. 1 wished me good luck. And 2 sent my resume to a recruiter. I mean, that's kind of pathetic. 650 emails. I don't want to make any assumptions. I have no idea what he said in the email. So let's not even focus on that. Let's focus on the results. The results are not good. It's 1%. And even in that 1%, 3 said they didn't know anyone. 1 wished him good luck. That's not going to give him a job. And 2 sent his resume to a recruiter. And do we even know that they actually did that? In my eyes, let's just say nothing. What does that say? I think it says a couple things that people are bombarded with information and people aren't doing anything. People are busy and they just don't have time. And it sounds terrible. And me saying it, I feel even terrible saying it. But it's the truth. I got to speak the truth. And people are out for themselves. People don't want to help other people. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's selfish. And yes, when there's catastrophic, we just had Harvey and Irma, people band together when there's something huge, right? We're good at that. We're good at helping other people when there's a catastrophe. But what about the everyday, day-to-day living, the day-to-day catastrophes that people have? Now, I'm not saying him losing his job is a catastrophe, but maybe to him it is. Maybe he's on the verge of losing his house and it's a catastrophe from a personal perspective. Do we get so caught up in our daily lives that we forget to help the person that sends you the email? So it's something to think about. Maybe we should pay more attention. And maybe we should pay attention to even the boring email and be more empathetic and be more sensitive to people. And that the world doesn't revolve around us all the time. And people need our help. And when they ask for it, we should give it. So food for thought on that one. Okay, next paragraph. This is very sad that no one is willing to help another professional find a job. If this is true, why have LinkedIn.com? Why waste my time? I have helped so many people in my lifetime, strangers needing help running a business plan or advice on starting a new business, writing resumes, giving them recruiters' contact info. Why not help another person in need? I guess I'm not the rule. I must be the exception. All right, so it's kind of getting back to helping others. I get this guy. And I think we've kind of all been there. You feel like you're helping and you're giving and you want to help people and you give and you give and you give and you give and you don't ask for anything in return. I call it networking karma. I call it karma, right? You give and you don't expect anything in return because you know the universe will give it back. Well, obviously the universe is not giving back to this guy. The one time he asks for help, he's not getting it. He feels defeated. He's frustrated. And he feels like no one cares. And it's kind of sad. And I almost feel that this happens probably more than we think. And I'm sure anybody listening to this, I'm sure you feel this. You feel this pain. And you've probably been here where you feel like you help and you don't ask for anything in return. And maybe the one time you need the one thing done, no one's there for you. No one does anything for you. It sucks. Totally sucks. It really does suck. But I do want to discuss the last sentence. I guess I'm not the rule. I must be the exception. And he's being a little dramatic, but I guess that's what he felt at that moment. He needed to be a little dramatic. All right, next paragraph. Does anyone understand what it is today not to have a job, no income? Do you really? I doubt it. I've been on a few interviews and the company says to me, you were overqualified for this job. What is that supposed to mean? Am I overqualified for welfare? This paragraph is a little tricky. So he's sending this out to tons of people. He doesn't know who his audience is, what their circumstances. So he's saying, do you really understand what it's like to not to have a job? I doubt it. Well, how do you know the person receiving this has been out of work for a year? How do you know they're not disabled? How do you know the person that's receiving this message doesn't have a child suffering from cancer who would switch places with you in a heartbeat saying, woo, 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 woo's me, stop complaining, I'd switch places with you in a heartbeat. See, he's got to be really careful with this because you just don't know. And then he's talking about how he was on a few interviews and they're saying he's overqualified. Oh, that happens all the time. Oh, that's just like the blanket statement. You're overqualified. Now, is that true? I don't know. I can't say. It's just easy to say. They might not have liked him. You got to be really careful when someone says you're overqualified. Sometimes you could be, but sometimes you're not. They just don't want you. They have someone better, but they don't have the guts to tell you the truth. So I don't know. And he says, am I overqualified for welfare? Let me tell you about that statement. That's a little pompous and it's a little condescending because I think everyone, no, I'll refrain that, not everyone. Most people are one step away from being homeless. If you're middle class, upper middle class, you could be living paycheck to paycheck, or you have a little bit of savings, but something catastrophic happens, you certainly could be homeless. You certainly could be a recipient of welfare. So I don't believe anyone is overqualified for being on welfare. Things happen in life that are unexpected that you don't prepare for. And that's when things happen and you could be in financial ruin. I've seen it. I've heard it. When I speak to candidates, it happens all the time. It happens to more people than you think. And it's very sad. And that's why you always need to prepare yourself. Don't think that every job is permanent and you're such a great worker and, oh, I'm not going to lose my job. They love me. Anything could happen. Anything. All right, next paragraph. Yes, I'm over 50. Get over it. I'm highly educated and work hard to achieve that. Don't hold it against me. And be more qualified than 90% of the people you have. Don't you want the best? I'm aggressive and entrepreneurial. Do you want a yes man or a leader? Wow. Yes, you're over 50. Don't get over it. Okay, come on. Don't write that. The person reading it might be 55. Or the person that's reading it might be 40. It doesn't give a crap that you're 50. That has a staff of a bunch of 50-year-olds. So don't assume just because you're over 50 that people have an issue with that. That kind of pisses me off that he said that. Like, I think that's wrong. But again, it's inciting emotion. Maybe it's not a bad thing, even if it's something that I don't agree with and I don't like the approach. It's still evoking emotion. I'm highly educated and work hard to achieve that. Great, wonderful. You get a medal. You have an education. Great. But again, are you being a little elitist? All right, so you've got an education, but it doesn't define who you are. I don't know anything about you. There are plenty of people that don't go to college that have street smarts that are brilliant. They just don't have that piece of paper. So don't just fall on that. I know you're trying to say that you have an education and that could be, that's a requirement for some jobs, but don't hold it against me. Come on. It's ridiculous. And I may be more qualified than 90% of the people you have. Don't you want the best? Just because you're overqualified doesn't mean you're the best. You could be overqualified and have all the qualifications, but you may suck at your job. I think he's making an assumption there that he's equating being overqualified in years of experience with being great. And they're not. I don't believe that. Just because you have 30 years of experience doesn't make you good. You might have 5 years of experience and blow the person with 25 or 30 years of experience away because you hustle, you have a strong work ethic, you're analytical, you could project trends, whatever it may be. So I don't equate years with being a great employee. Yes, knowledge and wisdom is great. If you have the years with the hustle and you're a great employee, that's awesome. But I'm just saying don't assume it just because you have those years that you're great off the bat. You still have to prove it. You still have to prove that you're great. I'm aggressive and entrepreneurial. Do you want a yes man or a leader? Actually, I kind of think that's a little sexist. Do you want a yes man? Maybe they want a yes woman. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a gender type of conversation. I'm aggressive and entrepreneurial. Well, obviously you're aggressive because his email is very aggressive. You don't have to tell us that. And you're entrepreneurial. Great. What does that mean? Everyone says they're entrepreneurial. I actually did a whole LinkedIn post on that, and I got so much lashback on that because we use the word entrepreneurial so loosely. Everyone thinks you're an entrepreneur. Look, until you own a business, you're not an entrepreneur to me. You may work for a startup, but you're not paying the bills. You're not paying for the insurance. You're not staying up at night wondering if you're going to make payroll. You're not an entrepreneur. That's another conversation. That's another podcast for another time. All right. So last paragraph. So I'm asking again, please send my bio to as many people, recruiters, HR people, presidents, CFOs, neighbors, whomever you know in business. You never know who they know that may be looking for an excellent candidate. Hallelujah. That's the best paragraph. That's awesome. He's so 100% right. He's so right. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You should not just send your resume to the people that you think that can help you. Everyone can help you. It doesn't matter what they do, what level they're at. The more you get it out there, the more network, it grows and grows and grows. It multiplies. He's right about that. And then he ends, thank you again for your assistance. I hope you never have to worry about finding a job. Oh, come on. Really? Maybe someone reading this has lost their job 5 times and bounced back and says, come on, dude, stop. I sigh with this because I struggle with this so much with this message. He was so effective. He got my attention, and that's what it's about. This is why I'm sharing this with you, is that you want to stand out. You have to understand, we get so many messages, so many resumes, and every single day I hear candidates complain that their resume goes into a lost hole. It goes into that black hole. But what are you doing to differentiate yourself? You have to put yourself in our shoes, in the recruiter's shoes. So my suggestion is, one, when you're sending something out like this, know your audience and be really careful, because he's just making so many assumptions here and making statements that he just has no idea about the person reading this message, what their experience is at that particular time. And it could totally piss them off, really piss them off. But at the same time, he's risking it. It's okay if he pisses off maybe half his audience, but the other half are going to call him up. And then it's great. I get it. I totally get it. And I was one of those people that called him, and I so wanted to help him. I had a great conversation with him, and he did land a job, which is great. But I think that there's other ways of standing out. Never be condescending. Just please don't be condescending, because it's not the right way to do it. But be clever. Show the true you, your authentic you, in a clever way. Make your messaging fun and witty and different and provoking. Yes, be provocative. That's what gets our attention. This was provocative. Absolutely. So start thinking in a provocative way. Get our attention. You may say, why do I have to do that? And this is going to piss me off. And I know there are going to be people out there that are not going to agree. Say, just do your job. Look at every single email. Call us up. I do look at everything. Recruiters do. But we only have a certain amount of hours each day to call people and look at everything. Look at all the emails and the resumes. So be the one that stands out. Be the one that it's hard for us not to want to call you and find out who you are. Whet our appetite. Make us think like, wow, this person's pretty cool. Like, this is interesting. Instead of just the boring cover letter that we get. It's just, oh gosh. We only spend on average 6 seconds on every resume. That's it. I think it's about grabbing attention. There's just so much out there. We're bombarded again with so much information. You just want to stand out from the rest. And I think that's what the message is be provocative, be clever, and market the heck out of yourself in a way that makes you stand out so you get the call. It's about the end result. It's about getting the results that you want. And sometimes you have to go that extra step to get those results. Think about this email. I would love your comments. And don't forget, happy career, happy life. And I will absolutely share more with you on a solo basis as much as I can. Can't wait to see you next episode.
Thanks for listening. You can get more incredible career information when you visit yourcareercure.com. And don't forget, happy career, happy life.